Yeah, yeah, sorry. Alright, so let's just smash out some. Um, yeah, you'll see this that once I you get this, I'm just gonna do this little bit of code and sync fire it up and I'll explain it all. Um, I've got it going in. I'm just cleaning up the entry now, the syncing it to certain points in the world. Um, landing is equal to actually, you know what? Because this guy calculating the Z of that is a bit of a tricky one. I know it's right, well, and you. Because the Z of that is. No, yeah, it is actually. That's the route height and landing. Yes, that's the route height and landing. Um, yeah, so this is the route height and landing, and then we need to. Bacon. Bacon. We don't want to change the Z, but I do want to change the Y. Is equal to target location is equal to what is the target location? I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not gonna do it. I just gotta make sure. Yeah, so we're syncing up. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm just cleaning up some TikTok stuff. Just kind of cleaning up each individual behaviors. I've got it working as a general, like jump to, jump off. Now we need to just tighten everything up. So if I jump to, I always need to get to the wall perfectly, because the reason I do it is currently I've got it so that you can launch from a point and land at a point with a little bit more range. So rather than having to purely distance match, I may say you need to take off at this point, land at that further point, and then go off of it. So it means that you can jump across gaps for the tic tac. You'll see what I mean in a second. But that means we need to sync up those points. Um, so yeah, that's what it means. So I'm just gonna do that, sync up the entry point, and then everything else for the entry then should be fine. And then we're gonna then look at the exit and make sure we sort out the rotational stuff. Yeah, I will be completely honest with you. Like, adding mechanics isn't what is difficult. It's adding a framework. The thing that's taken so long, I think, is just having a really stable code base to allow you to. Okay, so what's off here is so it gets to that point, but as we see here, okay, because what it is actually is that realistically, okay, yeah. So I think what we've got wrong, or got wrong here, it's right, but it's wrong, because what actually needs to happen in terms of that target location, I think it's hmm. What I'm gonna do actually is this guy. I need to. Yeah, guys. Yeah, no, it's going really well. Gonna bring back my debug stuff. Yeah, it's going good. So what we'll do now is get the right sync against the wall, so we can make sure it's getting there, and then once that's done, then we'll do that. Like now, a lot of this we will eventually get through entirely through the motion matching, but we want it stable first by me just doing it, and then the trajectory component as we do it, make it more complex, and then we can get that through the motion matching. So, but yeah, so now this input, so to speak, yeah, all we're doing now is just syncing up that what's it called? Yeah, we're gonna sync up that arc movement into the wall. And then once that's synced up, then we can go ahead and look at the exit, and that should clean up the entry, because the entry already now, if you go in left or go in right, it plays the right animation based on directional stuff. So that's all good, and it when it lands, it falls. The other thing I want to do with the entry is I want it to not just fall at the landing, so it goes to the wall and falls. Although that's correct, I think I'd like to preserve, in the same way I did for the flips, where although when you land in exit you finish, so like if you see in this, right, although like before, like for example in this guy where you land, you're done, right? Whereas for some motion you want to preserve the natural course of that motion. So like a cork, for example, really has a very natural like additive rotation that now we preserve. So rather than ending it once you land, you actually, if the player doesn't trigger another input, so if I do a cork, for example, and before I land I trigger another one, it will go like a swing through. But if I don't do anything, when it lands, it'll do that additive rotation, and that is what just makes it feel a lot more realistic in that sense. And I think the same needs to apply for this guy, in the sense of like, yeah, like as I'm, I mean, interestingly, like, yeah, so it's not wrong in terms of how it's doing it. I think the main thing that, so definitely getting the height right, that's all good, and it's getting to the wall. It's more so that forward direction of it. Um, Here there is, interestingly, this rotation, and I think actually, to be fair, thinking about the way the animation moves, it actually has a very natural but actually what I think it is that our target position has an XY offset from the point at which we're planting our feet, which would mean that rather than saying the root is there, it actually needs to be there. So the sync we're doing is slightly off, and that's what's causing the problem. Additionally, I don't think this should affect translation whatsoever. Let's make sure that isn't happening. Um, ah, let's do this first of all. Let's see how this behaves, and then yeah. So let's see how this behaves, and then once that is yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this behaves. Um, and then yeah, we'll see how this behaves, and then we'll go ahead and we'll see if that, because I think it is correcting its rotation, which is wrong. So let's get rid of that correcting rotation nonsense. And then yeah, get rid of the rotation correction, and then let's also look at bringing in the X offset at landing, because there actually is one. So we need to get that correct. As I have it here, your horizontal translation. So we need to apply that as well, like this. So that's what we actually need to do, as well as your forward, because what this will do is give you, in essence, your target location on that axis, right? All good, but we actually need also your horizontal translation with that too. So this needs to go forward, but your route's actually slightly offset to what your forward of your animation is doing. So if you see here, it's all synced middle, middle, middle. You go straight, but actually when I land here, I've got a slight offset of my route, so that needs to be reflected when I sync on this ball here too. So, but let's just see what change this has made. Yeah, so so that does the exact thing. So that is correct now. We don't do any weird rotation in that. Cool, lovely. So now it's just about getting the right. Yeah, it's just about getting the right XY offset, so that it doesn't affect. It doesn't pull inwards. Like, because if you go straight, it's fine, but there's always this inwards pull that the feet need to plant off that point, not the root, and that is the slight difference. So it should be pretty straightforward actually. Let me just do it now. So let's calculate this. So const auto I'm making this all verbose, and I'm going to move all of these into individual functions that handle each individual type of how you're targeting it. So is equal to get, and then right, and then what I actually need to do is, in the same way I do multiply that by whether or not you're mirrored or not. That should give you the right translation. And then what we need to actually do is the question is, do I need it as a, is the offset there is on the right vector of the character, or the I thought so. Want a negative, because actually, annoyingly, the right vector we get, but in this x is left, so it's the only annoying thing. To be fair, we could always just inverse this, multiply it, whatever it is, times by root translation at landing. This is all a bit of a mess, but once I'll clean it up and move it to its own thing, and then that should clean up a lot of stuff. So let's do this here. Hopefully now this preserves the cleaner, straightforward movement. And then we'll go from there. So yeah, we'll nail this entry first and foremost, and then once the entry is nailed, we'll move on to the exit. We should definitely get this done today, or at least enough so that we start testing. I mean, I think Guns did a ridiculous clip already. Will there be multiplayer? Yes, there will be. Let's see what this is done now. So if I run into this guy, there you go. So you see how now we've preserved that horizontal element of the entry. There you go. So now it's beautiful. It's literally in essence doing the same thing, but what it means is that you can have a slight offset in your distance match and slight variation that we will say, oh well, get him to the wall. Yeah. Some if you and what we then aim to do is minimize that offset with more animations, variations, and stuff like that. But now it really will, get it right. Oh, okay, that's much better. So now what I want to do is preserve more of that exit out on it. Okay, so this is wrong. That's wrong. Something's. Oh, actually, hold on. It looks like it's always short. Ah, hold on. Yeah, that's correct. But I need to see. Something is clear away from the wall that I need to look at why. Hey, Oliver, how are you doing? Hey, Flying Santa. Well, we use that framework already for the locomotion, but a lot of the stuff for like certain features like this, we will eventually transition more into, um, especially the falling is, but keeping it physics because yeah, the is what I've done here. Thanks, man. So like the wall, say we our entry angle is this, right? We enter like this. Our wall is here. We want to be back here across there, not just that like that. We do need to move it back, but interestingly, I mean, you would think we would need that target location to move back a little bit. So let's get rid of this and let's see where it's sinking, and then we'll bring things back one by one. I mean, if we don't need it, we don't need it. But there's something about that is wrong to me because this is not at the wall. We here. We want to sink there and here. Ah, but in essence, we're like this. Ah, thinking about it actually. In essence, we are. This has rotation. At this point, the wall, we're facing wherever. So now we're saying, oh, I need to be. Hmm, yeah, that's interesting. Let's see where. Yeah, it is that wall point. Yeah. So now if I bring back. Hey, Gunterson, man, how you doing? Yeah, if I bring back this, But that makes sense though, because now we're saying step. Actually, yeah, thinking about it. Yeah, distance wise now it's always correct. But so the feet get to the wall, that's all good. What it might need to be then is then that XY is in theory shifted, not necessarily along the actor right, because that moves it more out from the wall. So that this is why this is correct. Off of the wall. Now to get the correct X, it's actually because you we want to keep that arc there. So the only thing that is that I'm not sure about is actually that actually looks kind of wrong to me. Is to be fair. Ah, hold on. Ah, yeah. Ah, okay. This becomes a lot more complex now. Hold on. So this is why, right? Um. So if I override this for now, right? See, this now is important based on the context of what your action is. Ah, yeah. Okay. I was like, why is it not actually going to the right? Okay, yeah. Okay, I was wondering because I was like, why is now it still, however, pulls it. So now we see how it pulls it left in a more unnatural way. So now I would actually think we need to have some kind of. See, it just pulls it in wrong. So that's fine. Now if I bring this back, what is that value, by the way? Oh, you know the reason why it's wrong is because it's not this value here. We need to take this away from whatever the thing is at like takeoff. Because up to takeoff we go straight, 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 and then we launch and then we land like that, right? So we're good, good, good. Then we land an offset, but the offset we actually are generating isn't 102 out. It's actually just that little bit, whatever. Like where takeoff is this 56, and then this value here is like 81, so it's like 30 out. That's what it is. Okay, that makes. I was wondering. I was like, so now if I keep this, yeah, it's just way too far left. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that makes sense. So what I will do is I'm just doing. Let's do. Uh, co- uh, there's a lot of this is a bit of a mess, but so now what we should get is that if this is straight, this is straight. We go straight the whole time. Then walls here where we plant on our route needs to be offset on our whatever our TX is or why we move to the right position. But still has a slight weird. You let me if I do let me see what this value is actually. Okay, well I was wondering what was going on there. Oh, I'm so stupid. There we go. I was like, why is it not doing it? There we go. Look how perfect that is. Bang off the wall. Yeah, there you go. So now we see it gets the root. You see how it almost. So I think the thing to really see here is the red line is the natural motion of the animation, and the blue is the one we do. And you see how it near enough just follows it one to one pretty much perfectly now. And you see there, it's always off of the wall every time now. So if I go over this angle here, oh, so that's sus. So that we need to look at. So interestingly, this could be because of the angle of entry in that regard. So that's always the same. Or is it just off in the same amount every time? Let me check. Actually, it looks like it's just off by the same amount each time, actually. I mean, let me approach it more straight. What impact will that have? Actually, just looks, actually looks like it's just off the same amount every time. Um, Oh, you know what it will be? The angle of your entry will drastically change how off it is because moving it, you're moving it more away from the wall with every like left you go. So if you're approaching like this, yeah, that will impact it quite a bit actually. So if I approach an angle much more appropriate, I mean, I went the wrong way to be honest. So like that, yeah, it's pretty much spot on. But if I tighten that angle too much, I mean, it's quite like a slight indiscrepancy to be fair. But I actually want to get that right. Um, the other thing that we could potentially look at is looking at the yaw rotation. And instead moving it left. Like moving it because thinking about it, if the walls in this animation, right? So we say we're approaching at a very steep angle here. Oh, you know what? Actually, to be honest, it's actually correct. The reason why is because this is approaching a wall that is in front of it, right? But now, if we say we're approaching a wall that's very steep, he doesn't plant his foot like he would off a steep wall. You see how he steps there and then steps in front, in essence, like more to the left of it. So the actual sink of it all is actually correct, but that step is further left, independent of that. So unless we account for that angle of entry, it'll never be right. But what we can do is when we're picking the animation, is you really got to pick one that is stepping off a wall of similar. So when we do that with behavior, we don't get such a weird discrepancy. You can also get some IK in there, but let's I like the consistency that this is giving. Even when it's like very steep. I don't necessarily mind that, so to speak. Yeah, so all of this is so this entry is this is animation driven, but then the exit is physics driven. So you launch at whatever power angle you want. So you can be like this, right, and then launch off, and then you can arm grab. You can so like I can launch here and then stick, or so that is the next stage. But yeah, I'm just wanting to get this. I mean, to be fair, like this case here is where you like you do it a lot earlier than when you need to, and you can really jump into the wall. Do you see there? Like it gave an extra like beef, so that like that, right? So now that's a bit of a crazy one, right? Because I think for something like this, you can't do it as much, but then it's helpful when you're, for example, um, if I wanted to like, I mean, this is cool. I was doing this earlier, so now if I wanted to, so something like that is completely wrong. So you should fall. So if you took off like this, right? So now you can like jump to this wall here and then jump off. I should be able to stick this actually if I get it right. Or arm grab it at least. There you go. So that's the reason why I'm doing that, so that we can have a little bit more like launch control. Yeah, but then the launch off is purely physics. So, but now you can like jump off things and get to the wall if within range, right? If you take off too early, you're gonna do your entry early and you'll bail. So there's that failure. But we can. But now the thing is, I wanted to give you the range and ability to take off at a point and still reach the wall. So that's what is there now. Um, yeah. So I mean, to be fair, the main thing is that angle of entry impacting it quite a bit. But it makes sense because you're jumping off a wall that you think is just flat in front of you, but it's actually to your side. So this is when filtering out that angle of entry will be important, because then your feet and all that, the physics will. Because if I run at this at a more appropriate angle like this, let me run it at a more appropriate angle. So if I run near enough straight on with a little, it's like, it's damn near good. Yeah, so that'll be an animation, right? Like a standing jump into a wall run, but into a tic tac. But yeah, a couple days really. It's been 2 days, a day or two. Well, a day really of working on this properly. But now what I want to do is on that. So I'm alright with this for now. Is that fall? You see how it just doesn't preserve enough of the like actual. Uh, but nice thing is you can trigger it from like different distances, and you get that real. Because the thing with it, you can obviously make him jump and launch the character, and then when you hit the wall, bounce off. But you lose the beauty of what makes a tic tac such a beautiful and flowy movement. You see, like where he does the way he does that entry into it. That's what makes it. You know what I mean? Like that. These two steps before, like there, you know he's gonna try and tic tac off at this point. That's what makes the tic tac really good. And that is what we preserve. Like that step before is just so, you know what I mean? Like with the cloth sim and everything, and then you can launch in whatever direction you want to launch off the wall. You'll eventually be able to launch like 180, like that, but it'll do the right animation. So you can launch like that, but obviously I'm just making it do that, but it looks a bit dodgy. So yeah, that's where it's at. And so that next stage will clean up, but the logic of it applies. I mean, it works for everything. Like if you go here, you can like climb up this bit, tic tac off there, land, roll. You can like step off here, grab this, jump off, roll. And if I put a bit more power into it, if I go like this, straight into that tic tac, bang, and I really build the power and I launch off in the right trajectory. Potentially I can stick. Bang. There you go. So like all of these mechanics just like, so I mean that was actually pretty good, to be fair, considering I've not done pretty much little to no work on that. But I just added a bit more power into the launch off and I was able to stick. So yeah, that's the nature of it. And then what we could start doing, I was speaking about guns last night, maybe stepping higher on the wall so that you can get up higher, and potentially then that might go into when the power you go into the tic tac with, and all those things. So yeah, lots to improve in that regard, but already it's like real cool like mechanic that maintains the most beautiful parts while keeping, and the entry and the exit are completely independent of each other. So you can have one without the other. And we can play whatever exit we want. So you could do here and like step and do a 360 spin, or the tic tac corkscrew. Yeah, you can. I mean, it technically works. It's completely wrong. Let me hold on. I'll do it off this. So it doesn't actually work, but I think if I do a Yeah, you get the gist though. You know what I mean? You get the gist. Like then you can go into whatever animation that you want to do basically from there. I mean, I think if I go um yeah, so generally surprised that worked. This is again what I mean, where all of these animations, all these behaviors aren't for purpose, but they work, and that's because of the framework, and that's just. So I mean, technically, if I went like, it's kind of wrong because of the way the animation is. But if you just did a more straight tic tac, like I'm trying to think if I can. But now that animation will be, rather than that, will be an actual one when you step off and do it. You know what I mean? So like that is when it will become beautiful. But you can see the bones of it already with the system that is already there. You know, so that's the that's kind of the I mean, how is even I mean, one thing I am curious about is if I went. But yeah, you guys get the gist. Okay, so entry wise, I can live with this. I can live with this. What I might do is just maybe give it a bit more slight offset to account for that. To be fair, what I could do is adjust depending on your angle of entry. Adjust that distance. So if we think about it like, let me draw it down. So we think about it like, wait, let me get. Okay. Guns, what was that app the thing you used where it had the nice lines? Was it this guy? What did you use? It was very nice. I liked it. We went to it yesterday. I mean, so if you think we've got we're entering like this. Our wall is here. I don't know why I did like that. So entering like this, and our wall's like that. Oh my goodness. Jesus, am I okay? Our wall is here. Giving that this normal is like this. Oh mate, that's sick. I need to get that. What the hell? Yeah, you tell me your setup here. So this is, oh man. Then our normal here. This will be our like entry angle. Right. And then we say, yeah, to be fair, we can adjust it the normal based on how much of a thing you go. So so yeah, I do. So 0 would make 0 nothing to the normal of the wall. But so like this. Well, it would be your angle of entry versus your rotation. And then bring it closer towards this. Depending on that. That's what we could do. So move it in towards the wall normal. What we could also do is, rather than moving it just forward, rather than moving it just left. Nah, we need to move it just left, but our yeah. Is what we say actually. Is this, so if we say I need to be 60 off here, whereas here I'm saying this is 60. We move it actually. So that if I'm more arced, I actually need to move it less towards the wall. Less away from the wall. That would be the correct thing. But that's it's a nitpick. It's whatever. Okay. I need to clean this up like no tomorrow. It's absolute mess. Alright, so let's now look at preserving the exit, and then once this is done, we'll clean all this crap up. So now when I land, we don't necessarily want to fall. That's the issue. Right, we may, if we land, if we're not doing it, we actually may want to end the behavior here. So, I mean, if I go to my... see, this is when I need to start overriding stuff, man. It's just way too, you know what I mean? Way too specific. Yeah, it needs to start being overridden. I mean, what I could do... I'm just gonna do something interesting. To be fair, it doesn't actually matter. What we could do here, actually, just let me just do a deal. So now I anticipate this is gonna just play the animation out. Oh, I did the freaking. Why are you falling? Excuse me, sir. Oh, I did it. Words, and I know it's like been talk all day. Okay, I'll see you soon. Yeah, we'll do. We'll just leave dog. Oh yeah, to be fair, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, we definitely need it. Now, it's whether or not because he kind of does a TikTok. I mean, I think then we need to split the entry a bit more, actually. Yeah, I don't know, actually. I don't know if actually, actually, the other way might be more correct. To be honest, let's push. But at this point, you may as well keep it land. I think I almost prefer the other one. Yeah, because this just doesn't make no sense. Because he's jumping, but he's not. So he's like, "Oh, you didn't jump." But I actually think it when you land, you do your thing. You know what? It's also a simpler code. It's never a bad thing. I think this actually makes more sense. I think it just needs a better fall, like a more appropriate fall. But you're like here, up, nothing. Okay, fall. Yeah, if he just does a better fall, it's actually it's Barry. He's very good when you look at this. Yeah. There's just a jankiness that we really need to eliminate. I think once we get rid of that, like there's a real lack of smoothness sometimes transitioning between animations. Like that. There's just moments where I'm like, ugh. I think it just if you clean that up, it'll all get so much better. Secondly, now the launch animation needs to be a lot more tighter. So now I need to look at the rotational stuff of that. Need to clean that stuff up, man. Man, why are you picking that animation? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to improve. I can't lie. We get there. Oh, you know. Um, what am I doing, man? Okay, so how am I finding it? The entry. Let's just say, are we taking it off or not? Yeah, it's wrong. Rotation's all a bit dodgy. Can definitely be improved. I think we need to change what the only thing actually that probably needs work is now. Yeah, when it doesn't have it. That's crazy to say that's distance match. Ridiculous. Yeah, see, if it's not, it really you need to fall. You know what I mean? Like you've got to. I'm pretty much bail. You know what I mean? Um, one thing I'm intrigued about is the entry. Why does it? If it's not this, why does it? Oh, to be fair, wait. Do I do something dodge? When is climax? 1.26. Should arm jumps be their own thing? That is the question. Oh, Jesus, it really gets a match always. I mean, that's good. You want more range of like. Yeah. There we go. Okay, yeah. So if you try it, it just falls. But to be fair, it's quite hard to not do it, which is good. Which is the exact behavior I want. Like it's very hard to not do the thing. You know what I mean? So that is the exact. Actually, looks very good. Ironically, like so that's the. This is the. So here you want to do it. I really need. If it's not this, I really need to get to not take off beyond that point. It almost needs to like just take off rip, which kind of does, but sometimes it don't. Um, but that behavior is correct. I can get behind this. And in that one, it gets yeah, cool. I can live with it. Alright, these feel stable now. Tic tac. What tic tac? Yes, please. What tic tac again? What? Tic tac one more time. What? Tic tac of this? Yeah, go on. Tic tac. What? And left. Way. 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 Huh? What's going on here? Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. You happy? You happy, guns? I love how he's like kept distracted by other things. The other things were adding random balances in the sky. It's not like it was like, oh, I was distracted by all the optimizations. It was like, no, I was distracted by adding the giant beam balance. You were distracted by a distraction. I respect it. One thing I've just noticed. Oh, maybe it was just the Z. Yeah, see, the fact I don't get distance match, crazy. Yeah, see, something's buggy there. See, bug discovered, and it's because it hasn't got valid ledge, and that's why it's sus. Yeah. All right, now we got to go through the. I want to clean this out. Honestly, now we got to go through the. Let's clean up this whole thing. Actually, I'll do that off stream. That's boring. Let's forgot to do this. I forgot to do this. This I was meant to do yesterday. I completely forgot. Because now what our target changes depending on what the context is. So the target distance here You know what we'll do? Because we use this. Let's make this a lambda function. Let's do some code. Let's do some proper, because I'll put a switch aside a bit, and then we'll make it a thingy. So, um, um, people hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. Oh, yeah. And a heart breaking it don't break equal. No sick of love. Because sometimes that ain't the case. You know what I mean? It's actually the world context that we care about. Is it though? Is it though? Is it the world context? Because now, you know what? I think we should be able to differentiate between a tic tac off of a ledge point or a tic tac off of a wall. Because they are different. We can't just assume they're the same. Now, it will mean I will need to change things, but it will have it's an added level of complexity there. But I think it's worth it to be able to, like, I'm jumping on a beam and jumping off, versus like, because you're not going to step against the wall if the ledge is. Yeah, see, you've got to think about these things, mate. I get weird on code. Oh yes, sorry. And you did. This is because I need to put it within scope. You see what I done? Came in a black Benz, left with a white one. Yeah, all right, guns. Let me better time. That I did notice as well. It's because the vaults need to be they're object dependent. Like you need to have an obstacle, um, which means that you need to actually, if you're trying to vault out of it, you need to look at your input direction, not your facing direction. So it changes things. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Um, yeah, I ain't not right now. I'll lose my mind. I'll lose my mind, Mike. Leaving me to say, let you go. But I could also just change which one you use to be fair, but then it's a constant. To be fair, I could also return. Now, I don't think a lambda should ever do too much, and if it is, you need to make it a function. So technically, we could have just returned here. Hold up. Wait a minute. Well, we might want to extend it, so let's do this. What's wrong with you? Excuse me. Where was I? What function was I just in? Funny, I actually cannot remember. What was the function? Cock skill match. Yeah. What's going on in here, sir? Excuse me. My blind is about. Why? What am I doing wrong? No return statement and a lambda returning non-void. Am I going crazy? I am definitely doing this right. What are the uses of it? Must be going crazy. Am I going mad? Genuinely, am I going crazy? This is me. I was just sat here thinking I'm the dumbest person in the world. Oh, go away. Okay, thank God. I really thought I was a dummy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was hella stupid. I was about to say. I was like, what is going on? Like, this is right. Bloody rider. Uh, what a guy. Hello, George. There we go. See, it was just a case of doing it properly. You know what I mean? It was just oh beautiful. Ooh, that was quite nice. Hold up. Talk to me nice. That- yeah, okay. The negative way doesn't really work, but that's fine. Even that. See, even that, right? I don't necessarily. It's an extreme case. What I do need to do though. Yeah, see, this is the issue. We don't check if you got a valid, and I bet you it's impacting a lot of us stuff. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, like yeah, get it now, get it when we drop on Steam, get it when we release the full thing, whenever. Like obviously now it just supports the development. So yeah, and we're like, I mean, I'm showing you the code, you know what I mean? So you guys, I can't lie about where we're at. So, but it's moving, it's moving. Um, what am I doing in my brain? I was gonna do something. I'm gonna do something in here. All right, so we calculate our target distance. Yeah, they're all good. Happy days. Here we go. This guy. Question is, if I try and do it on this little geezer, it doesn't. It's actually quite very accurate. It's like it's too small. Yeah, I mean that's actually very accurate. Huh? No, I can't. Sorry. But if I try on this guy, oh look, oh I did it the wrong way. Here we go. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Mwah. Mwah. Très bien. What we need to actually do, however, is for that TikTok entry. See, I think in this case now we need to filter out the Z of the jump if you're not against. So we need to choose one that's going to take you higher and then jump if your input entry power is more. But then that's the first thing. Well, that's one thing. Then secondly, if I want to jump onto this thing as opposed so as to like if my context is onto, I actually think it needs to um try and step on that ledge bit because if it can, obviously, if it can, um, but it needs to do it if it's got a valid thingy. But that I think, to be honest, I think all we need to do is when we sink it to the wall, we just need to check that well we've got a wall, or yeah we've either got a wall like we have here, or we've got a valid Z for that onto plant. So I think if you're saying, oh, I'm doing a tic tac exit, then we say, okay, cool. You're doing a tic tac exit. What's your like Z sync point? Have you got a valid Z match? If so, yeah, have you got a valid Z match? If you do, then go ahead and Yeah, sorry. If you got a valid Z match, then go ahead and do well, I don't know, whatever you need to do really. um, See that? Why are you not falling there, mate? There's no way that matched. You're a liar. Get to the ball, man. There's no way in God's green earth that matched. Oh, but it's not sync. It does match. It just doesn't sync to the point. That is correct. Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. It does work. It does work. Just haven't set up the ledge. So this case here, we want to get to the ledge point. I think there's a couple things off or wrong. The first being, so okay, so if okay, so you input it right. If you're against, that is what you're thinking. Otherwise, it's going to be your ledge point, right? So yeah, so otherwise it's going to be your ledge point. So if that is your ledge point, then what you're then doing is, in essence, jumping away from it. No, I'm talking about we sink our landing to the ledge point, right? Thing is, though, the saying that we want to try and get to that point is is interesting because yeah, because then we say we want to try and step off the top bit, but that may not be the case. It's more so about the power of your input. Hmm. Hmm. Not as straightforward as I thought. But potentially we could say the power input determines how high you go up on the run up. But that's later, right? For now, let's say we either want to sync. Yeah, because now we say we want to sync to the ledge point. Do we though? Because I think what we should actually do then is decide if, for the tic tac we've chosen, do we have a valid plant point? Well, if it's onto or everything, we say, can we step off of that ledge? Golly. Um, yeah. Deciding whether we want to step onto the ledge or against the thing is the tricky bit. So if we say we want to step onto it, oh, okay, let's think here, right? So we're playing. You're just living your best life. Now you got this wall. This one's easy, right? So we know that we can. You've got an against. Then we know we want to not fall if the entry that we've chosen has a valid like height against the thing, right? Um, that we want to jump off of the wall from. Cool, fine, happy days. Then this, right? We in essence want to step off of the wall. off of the ledge point rather than just the wall. But you may not. But I think in this kind of context, yeah, you may not. Do you know what I think is going to have to be? The height at which you step off is an input. Like if I hold it more, I'll run up further and launch. If I tap it, I'll go lower. And then what we do here, we just then decide, you know what we can do? So we take that power to decide how high up you go, right? We pick an animation that matches that, in that range, right? Right, so we hold it a little longer, and that will determine how high up we go before we jump off. We tap, we go lower, so you just step off and go. Then what we do is we pick one that is gonna best match what we want to do, and then we say, what is the world context? Can we match it to that ledge? That's what we choose to do or not, based on the power input you've given and the height of the obstacle you're trying to jump off. But it's not just matching to the ledge, because a little one doesn't need to get to the top point. It just needs to be able to launch off it. So realistically, either you can make it to the ledge, but there's a couple cases, right? You can make it to the ledge and step off that, or you can just step off the surface. That I think is the first one to do. So have the case where if it's like onto or over, can I get to the ledge and step off the edge point? If not, can I just jump off the wall itself? Like, do I have a surface to plant my foot? If I have a surface to plant my foot, do a wall plant. If I don't have a surface to plant my foot, do a if I can get it, like plant off of the ledge. Plant off the ledge. If I can't do that, then have I got a surface to plant off, or am I going against? But have I got a surface plant? But that's only if we're doing the context is like over or onto or like a small thing. If we're against, we only just check. But if we're against, we don't check any of that. We just wall plant and go. The Z doesn't matter. The Z is purely determined by animation. Yeah. So I'm going to write this down. All right. So logic of it: if your case is anything other than against, basically, or like is onto over one of those ones where you actually have an object, first we check, can we actually, with the chosen animation, what animation we choose will determine on your power, but that's separate. With the chosen animation, can you get to the ledge point to step off within a range, right? So we sync to that if you can. If you can't, then just step off the surface. So if you've just got a surface that you want to do whatever you need to do, like yada yada, then just step off. If you have that, then just do a wall plug of the animation itself. Otherwise, step off the edge of the thing if you can get to it with a we'll go a very small range of that. So if you're just above, you can pull down to it. That's the main reasoning. Other than that, you might need less power. So we do that, and then otherwise, however, if your case is like your context is just against something, then we only need to check if you're distance matched, and then therefore just sync to a wall plug, and then the exit is just physics. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. Okay. What time is it? It's time for Jesus. This is a gym. Needs to go for a run. I don't think which one to do first. um. Okay. I mean, if I go now, or I do this. No. And I go later. Run. Fuck off. Actually, I'm not actually not gonna run. I'm actually gonna make a hot chocolate. I'm actually gonna have a coffee, I think. Although it's 5. Um. I'm just trying to decide what to do. Because I gotta leave this at my house in an hour and a half. Well, I've got to leave my house in an hour. There's not really enough time to do it. It is enough time to run though. Get back, shower. I can always go gym again. It doesn't really matter. Sorry, you're just watching me just try and be healthy. Or I could have a hot chocolate and keep coding. That's it's the questions of life at this point. Um, I'll go for a run. If I don't run now, I won't run at all. So it's the simple truth of it. Um, but then I got to shower again. Yeah, I mean, the indecision is killing me. 2 seconds. Yeah, door. Sweet. Off. I'm sure. No, you'll be. Okay, now I'm. Anna says hi, George. She said also you're not doing any work, which clearly. All right, guys, I'm gonna go be healthy. I'm gonna check this in anyways. And then tonight I will fix. I will do this thing. Um, and then I will move on to the exits, and then go from there. Then hopefully tonight we have Tic Tacs. Ticked off. Pardon the pun. But yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, cool. All right, we'll grab food, go for a run, and I shall catch you guys. I'll stream again tonight, so that might be a bit longer. So, all right, guys. Peace.